Hi guys, I hope you're all well. In this video I want to discuss the hidden challenge within the fat loss phase. As I mentioned many times before, we need to be creating an energy deficit to lose body fat. We need to be burning more calories than we're consuming. We need to have weight training as the foundation of our routine to maintain as much muscle mass as possible. And then we're creating that deficit by dropping calories and also increasing cardio over time. However, most people typically understand that what they should be doing, but why aren't they achieving their goals? And one of many reasons is what I call the hidden challenge within the fat loss phase. And that hidden challenge is really controlling hunger as much as possible within the fat loss phase. This typically is what holds people back. This is what causes people to binge, to go off track, and typically they may give up after some of these binges because they're not controlling hunger effectively. And this can be a real challenge, and I think it's just really important to note that there will be some hunger within the fat loss phase. It's normal just because you're in the energy deficit over a chronic period of time, but there's certain things we can do to try and blunt hunger as much as possible. So the first thing is probably one of the most important, that is focusing on food volume, trying to focus on foods that typically have higher volume and therefore they keep you satiated for longer. And this also goes hand in hand with trying to focus on higher fiber foods as well. So one great example of this is fibrous vegetables. Very low in calories, and therefore you can have a greater volume of this particular food without actually making a significant dent into your calorie targets. Couple that, it's quite high in fiber as well, so that will keep you fuller for longer. So that's a great example, trying to have as much fibrous vegetable within every meal, because again, you can have a lot of it without making a dent into those calorie totals. Fiber will keep you fuller for longer, and also the volume is quite high as well. So also mentally, it kind of tricks you into thinking you're eating more calories than you actually are. So that's probably one of the most important takeaways. The reason why that's critical is something I preach, something a lot of other good coaches preach, is flexible dieting, a if it fits your macros approach, i.e. not banning any foods, allowing you to eat whatever you like as long as you meet your macronutrient and calorie targets. Now, with that being said, even though you could potentially just focus on high sugary carbohydrates and still make fat loss progress, that wouldn't necessarily be the best approach to take to basically control hunger. If you just relied on that, you will still lose body fat if you're in that energy deficit, but you'll be extremely hungry, you'll be extremely tired and lethargic, and therefore more likely to go off the plan. So actually focusing on these higher fiber, higher volume foods can really help to negate hunger and therefore allow you to stick to the plan for longer. So it's just something really important to think about. Next tactic is to focus on moving more of your calories later in the day. Typically most people are more hungry later in the day as opposed to earlier in the day, so what I suggest to a lot of my clients, this is what I do personally, is having less food early in the day and then more calories later in the day when you're most hungry. And therefore this plays a little bit of a trick mentally because you're actually having more calories later in the day, but because you've really grazed on food earlier in the day, you're still within those daily calorie totals. And as I mentioned before, timing of your meals, whether you have it in the morning, the evening, it really does not matter in the context of fat loss. It's all to do with energy balance. Are you in a deficit, surplus, or maintenance at the end of the day, over the course of the week, course of the month, over a chronic period of time? That energy balance equation, that's what dictates fat loss or maintenance or fat gains. As long as you're having those calories within your daily totals, you'll be absolutely fine. So focus on those two tactics, focusing on high volume foods and also moving more of your calories later in the day. So hopefully that's been useful. Like the video if you've enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, because I've got lots more content coming. Thank you very much.